Hey, everybody, this is Betsy Carmody. We've covered a lot of popular culture on our little podcast, but sometimes there's a few things that just get past us. That's where the Sacred Six steps in. From Star Trek to Major League Baseball, from the streets of Baltimore on the wire to the trails of the Camino de Santiago in Spain, the Sacred Six is there to deep dive on topics that deserve just a little more attention. So if you're looking to cover an item in popular culture from A to Z, check out the Sacred Six on the Popping Collars feed, wherever you get your podcasts. Pop, pop.
That's a story about America. Let me know if you need me to re-record it or like rephrase things. I can do that too. What? Oh, come on. You and I are gonna be sitting on a panel talking about this. I want it to be great. We both know how this works, right? Yeah, I mean, at first, everyone's gonna think you got your bad guy. Nobody's gonna let it be that simple. Everyone's gonna have their take, because that's how it works now. Everyone has a take. So if you don't have a take, you don't have a voice. If you don't have a voice, you don't exist.
Yo, let the record loose. See?
Welcome to Popping Collars, the podcast that lives at the intersection of religion and pop culture. The number one Episcopal. Wait, what is it? The number one
The
Episcopal
longest
podcast
running.
in the history of the world.
Oh,
And the number one Christmas podcast on Pandora. What was the old one that we would do? It was like Christmas on Pandora
in 2018 or
in
something.
2019.
Oh. Wow, we're really grasping.
Whatever it was great. That's us. I'm your host. My name is Greg. I work at the Church of Bethesda by the Sea in Palm Beach, Florida. With me are my co-hosts. I do this geographically usually, but I'm too tired, so we're just going to go around my screen. So Betsy Carmody, you're up first. Where are you? What do you do? Besides eat chips, what you're doing?
I'm not eating the chips right now. I've been around podcasts long enough to know you don't eat on recordings.
Oh,
Or if you do, you mute yourself.
People don't like that.
that's right.
They don't like that. They get mad. That and vocal fry. I don't know whether that's still a thing people are mad
Is it a
about.
type of phobia to hear people eat? I'm going to look.
Like
I
miso, there's a
actually-
word for it.
It's just gross. I mean, I don't think people really need to hear that in their ear holes, like up close. I don't like to hear people mouth smacking and chewing their food. I don't like that.
Same.
Like when I hear people chewing their gum, no.
Same. I could smack them if I wasn't such a Christian. I hate that sound.
Wait,
It's hate it.
I like hearing crunchy things being chewed. That's kind of fun.
Do
like,
you?
It's
I don't
kind of
mind.
pleasant.
Yeah. Misophonia. is
Yeah,
what-
I don't like mouth
Me,
sounds
yeah.
of any kind.
No,
Mm-mm.
no. It's like when I work with students here at Episcopal High School, where I work in Alexandria, Virginia, as the head chaplain.
Good call.
Where I work with students when they do chapel talks, it's when you realize that sometimes when people talk, they get on a microphone and they'll smack.
Mhm.
They'll do that with their mouth. I'm like, oh no, we need to stop that habit. No, we're not going to
That's
do
not
that
good. Yeah.
in here on a microphone. No. But you work with the young kids. You get them ready, and then they do great. So that's me. And it's cold here, Greg. The snow is finally melted,
Oh,
and we've had some. It's been really chilly for Virginia, and now we're going to get some weird day where it's going to be like 71 degrees, and all the children will be like, "Yay, it's over!" And then it'll just be a trick, because that's what Mid-Atlantic weather does.
We call that
It's all
false
tricks.
spring. When it
Wow.
Yes, there we
happens.
go.
Yeah,
There we go.
false spring.
That's about to happen.
Mhm.
next up on my around the horn of the screen is Liz Easton. Liz, you are next.
Oh my gosh. Hey, Greg. I am Liz Easton. I'm the canon to the ordinary in the Diocese of Nebraska. And it's also cold here. We had 17 inches of snow last week, which is pretty unusual.
Wow.
in these days, it's pretty unusual. Now, your old time Nebraskans would remember that as being what living in Nebraska is like. So that was kind of a shocker.
The 1954
That's exactly
storm
right.
of February.
Freeze of '06. Yeah.
Exactly. So that was kind of shocking, but also very beautiful. Things are going well here. I don't want to brag, but some really good things happened in my job today, and it made me really happy.
You should brag
And-
about Nebraska, Liz. You guys have the best
Yeah.
job descriptions on Episcopal News Service. Every time I scroll through looking at
Oh.
open positions, I always see like Disciple of Jesus, Omaha,
Yeah.
Nebraska. I'm like, great.
Wow.
That was a fun one. Lots of people expressed interest in that. Nobody ended up applying for it. That ad was for listeners, it was an ad for Disciples, and it was based on what was probably an apocryphal story of Ernest Shackleton advertising in the newspaper for members of his crew. And it was pretty funny. So we did that. It was great. It was great. Lots of
That's
people interested. Nobody applied.
That's a great thing to pattern your discipleship
Yeah.
call for after
Yeah,
the Shackleton
exactly.
expedition.
It's like no money, but lots of glory.
Ricardo Avila, you're
Yeah.
last but definitely not least.
Oh,
What's going
Greg.
on?
Well, I am the shyest of the four of us. I'll just say that right now. Quiet and reserved.
That's
Ricardo
how we
Avila.
think of you. Yeah.
Exactly. Those are the words that come to mind.
I'm just slower than the three of you. You all are so fast. You're in the fast lane. I'm Ricardo Avila. I am the rector at St. Luke's Episcopal Church in Los Gatos. Gosh, it's been rainy. Of course, our version of cold is nothing near your versions, except for Greg, maybe. But, we have this curious effect in our little parking lot. The drain gets backed up, and when it rains heavily, we have Lake St. Luke's
Oh.
in the parking lot. And so we have to call the parter of the Red Sea, one of our people, to kind of unclog the drain so it all goes down. And that was the big excitement this week.
Oddly enough, we have talked about, what is it? At this point, like billions of pop culture items over
Billions.
the last 10 years.
Billions.
And for whatever reason, every time we look at the statistics of downloaded episodes, consistently, the episodes that get listened to the most are our music video episodes. I have no idea why. None of us even like music videos. We don't like talking.
Oh, hold
about
on.
music.
I like
Betsy likes
music
music
videos.
Betsy does.
I like music videos.
This is my least
I like
favorite
music
episode ever.
videos.
And it just
Wow.
blows my mind. But
Wow.
God
Yeah.
bless you guys. Yeah.
Yeah. So listen, here's what I do know about Popping Collars. We give people what they want. And if you guys want to hear us talk about music videos, we're just going to keep on doing it. So that's what we're doing today. This is our annual music video episode. Music videos, for you Zoomers out there, are little mini movies set to music. Generation X kids love them.
They do.
Yeah.
Millennials liked them.
Did they?
I think so. I think by the time that I was in high school, like think of Britney Spears and like those types of videos.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. Yes.
TRL
Yeah,
is
TRL.
still on. TRL is still on. Come on.
Yeah. You're right.
Come on.
So now it just firmly lives in the world of YouTube, maybe.
Yes.
But so that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about music videos that stand out to us for whatever reason. This is our 4th year of talking about music videos, and we still haven't gotten through all the ones that we want to talk about. So to kick us off, here is Ricardo Avila to introduce
yes.
a video to
Number
us.
one.
I am happy to go first. Thank you very much. Like I always do my Google, best music videos of all time. And invariably I figure something out, or it's not on the list and I just saw it. I don't even know. But this time I'm just going to go with the one that always pops into my mind first. And so it's going to be super obvious and I don't care. Can you guess what it is?
Is it?
I think it's the
Thriller?
same as mine.
Is it Thriller?
It's not Thriller.
Oh.
Well, you know what? It's not that obvious, I guess. But it's Sledgehammer by Peter Gabriel.
Oh, that's great. That's a great video.
I love it. And here's the thing. I thought, come on, Ricardo, just find something out there that's really interesting and will make you seem really cool. But the song and the video, like there can be I know music better than videos, and so I can impress you with my musical knowledge, but the video stuff, I mean, sometimes the best songs have the dumbest videos, or vice versa, right? So Sledgehammer. Why did I pick Sledgehammer? It's just so iconic. It's number 8 on the Rolling Stone Best Music Videos of All Time, by the way. But it's always the video that comes to mind because it came out in 1986 and I was a sophomore in college, I think. And, I didn't really watch videos, but that one was just so everyone's like, you got to see this. It's so cool. And it really is. And Peter Gabriel, I mean, in college, I loved Peter Gabriel. I mean, still do, but back then especially. And his albums were dark. I mean, the guy was like, I think he was in like a mental institution for a little while. Or if not him, then his characters in his songs on certain albums, like Peter Gabriel self-titled album number 3 or something. And then Sledgehammer and So, the album So come along. And there's just not all of So. Obviously, it has Don't Give Up and Red Rain and Mercy
It is In
Street.
Your Eyes.
It's got In Your Eyes. Yeah, but it's got In Your Eyes and Sledgehammer and that other hit that I can't think of right now. That's got a boppy thing to it. Oh, Big Time. Big Time. But Sledgehammer the video is just joyful and whimsical. And it's not Peter Gabriel at all. And I just love seeing him looking happy, given the fact that most of his music, a lot of it up till then, was kind of dark and depressing, if rhythmic and engaging.
I wanna be Sledgehammer. Why don't you call my name? Oh, let me be your Sledgehammer. This will be my testimony.
I don't know. Can I describe Sledgehammer? It's got a lot of stop motion stuff going on, a lot of close up on his face, blinking and singing, but kind of like choppy, and all this claymation dancing around him, bumper cars hitting him in the
puppets,
face.
Doesn't it?
It's got puppets. It's got dancing chicken carcasses, which freaks me out still. The other thing I noticed is it starts out like at the kind of atomic level with little sperms finding eggs and stuff, and this little like flute, like, or the little pan flute situation. It starts out that way, and then it ends cosmic. He's like he's like in a star. He's like a walk, like the stars, right? He goes out of a door, but he's like a walking movement of stars into the cosmos. I thought, well, that's kind of fun. You start with a little zygote or the little spermy situation, and you go out into the universe. And in between is all this fun and whimsy and frolicking. And I don't know what Sledgehammer the song is about, really. I want to be your Sledgehammer. I guess it's sexy, maybe. Maybe it's,
one might think. Friend. I mean, I don't know.
I want to be your study mate. I don't know, but it doesn't really. It's not really about that, and it's a fun video, and it's the whole stop motion thing. Never get tired of it. Now we had talked briefly about how I was only going to have one video, and so that's my video. However, I will say that the thing I was going to pick first is sort of in the same family in my mind. And it's also a super obvious one for people who don't know music videos. And it's Gangnam Style or Gangnam Style by Psy. I love that video. It's so fun. Whoop, whoop, Gangnam Style. And he's doing all these stupid things. He's in the hot tub and he like falls. He's in the sauna and he like puts his head on the chubby guy next to him, and he's dancing in the subway, and he does a dance off with like a guy who's all in bright yellow who shows up in a red car in like a parking garage. It's hilarious. Gangnam Style. And I love it, like everything is in Korean until "Oh, sexy lady." And I just think they're of a lineage, silly, whimsical, fun, makes you feel good.
Yeah.
absurdist. Yeah, I mean, it's just it's hilarious. And so those are my picks. I guess if I'm gonna watch a video, I want it to make me smile or think, but I can do other things for thinking. I like these videos because they make me laugh. That's my pick. Sledgehammer. Peter Gabriel,
Ricardo,
1986.
I was 9 when this video came out, and it was like I loved it so much that we were the type of household that would have MTV playing in the background, like while we were doing other stuff. It was just kind of like background music. And if the video for Sledgehammer came on, my mom would call me into the living room so that I could watch the Sledgehammer.
Oh,
I'd go back to my room and stuff. So I love this video. But I was talking to Betsy yesterday. The fun thing about videos, especially early videos, but I mean even now, is the absurdity of them, right? It's like you're watching this sort of musical performance, but then like a tentacle demon monster will come out of the earth or something, and it's like it's there's all this bizarre imagery that sort of happens in the span of 4 minutes, and I feel like that's actually what's really kind of appealing about the format, is like anything can happen in these 4 minutes.
Yeah,
That's true.
and I'm looking up so Steven Johnson directed the video. He directed Big Time, Steam, and Sledgehammer, all for Peter Gabriel. I didn't realize the claymation pieces of this video were done by Nick Park, who does Wallace and Gromit.
The chicken run
That's
stuff.
so cool. Yeah, like I hadn't put all of that together. That the studio that they were working with, this Aardman Animations was working with Nick Park too. Like that's a lot of talent going into these creations in the late 80s. It's awesome.
Yeah. Early on. I guess I just want to reiterate how this time around, just watching it before coming on the podcast, it made me sort of happy for Peter Gabriel that he had this joyful time. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why I think of him as a sad sack, but he's just like, I'm going to have this unmitigated, silly, fun, interesting video and just like make faces throughout the whole thing. And I wish we could have such music video moments in our real lives where we just sort of cut loose and act silly. So, okay, that's all. Thank you.
Oh,
well, and he was dabbling with this idea of like, oh, well, you all think I'm selling out.
right.
Like that was some of what he was doing. Right. And because he's this serious artist and, he'd been in the, Genesis and the band, and they're also very serious. And he's such a creative force, and he's making albums with Daniel Lanois and we're, but that this was such a fun play with all that 80s gusto and spirit in it.
And it really is iconic. Like if our younger listeners have maybe not seen it, you should go check it out. You should go check it out. It's totally a part of the pop culture canon.
I think he's even said that the record label was constantly like, can you just make another song like Salisbury Hill? And he was like, no, I don't want to do that song. And, and like, I want to do my own stuff. And it's almost like a lot of his career was in reaction to not making another hit pop song like that,
And it's also 80s without being like stereotypically 80s. You know what I mean? Like it's the grandness of the 80s, because I often put Sledgehammer and Big Time together in my head when I think about them and their themes. And so it's like he's talking more about the vibe would be the word, Liz, I think the kids use. Yeah. The of the 80s in these the portions of that. That
like
part
the vibe of that era might be what the kids would say.
Yes, that vibe of that era.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
God.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good.
Sure. Nice pick, Ricardo.
Thank you.
The Zoomers are gonna love this episode. They're just like,
oh my gosh.
I never understand what these people are saying, but now I'm totally on board.
Now I do.
Now they're talking about the vibe of the era.
Liz, you are our
Oh
next
my
video.
gosh, what a shocker. So as I said, I don't really love this episode. Although I have over the years enjoyed looking back on some of those iconic great videos. But even today I found myself thinking of videos that we had already done. And Greg was gracious enough to send around a list. So I'm doing a kind of deep weird cut. Which is similar to the one that I think I did last year. Last year, I did a Garth Brooks music video. So once again, I'm returning to the era of 90s country music.
Wow.
This is how I got to this place. Okay, I'm going to tell you my thought process. Obviously, I was thinking of my boyfriend, Vince Gill. And one of his great songs is a duet with Reba McEntire called The Heart Won't Lie, where they recreate an officer and a gentleman in a music video. It's a great video and it's a great song and you should look it up. But there's not much to it. There's not much meat for a podcast about really the intersection of religion and pop culture. But that made me start thinking about Reba, who was sort of the queen of 90s country. And she really was into her music videos. And essentially what she did for most of her videos at that time was she made these little films that included dialogue. Like the song would kind of fade out and there would be like a speaking part. There was dialogue. Mm-hmm. And so the video that I'm going to talk about is a video for the song Is There Life Out There by Reba McEntire, which was a #1 hit in 1992. On the country music charts. And let me tell you a little bit about the song, okay? The lyrics.
Is this song about aliens? Is this about aliens? Okay, I'm just checking.
It's a song about feminism.
I don't know the song.
Okay. So the song begins, she married when she was 20. She thought she was ready. Now she's not so sure. And the chorus of the song is there life out there? It's about a young woman who got married very young, and she just is asking in different ways over and over again, is there more for me? Which I think is a question that a lot of people ask at certain seasons of their life. And I would imagine that in the 90s, a lot of women who were listening to Reba McEntire songs were asking this question. And in the lyrics of the song, she just sort of poses this question over and over. And she clarifies, like, she doesn't want to leave. She's just wondering if there's life out there. So the music video, you guys will not even believe that this is a real thing. And you won't believe that it was almost banned from country music. Wow. So it's a 5-minute video for this song, and it tells this whole story. It creates this whole universe where Reba McEntire is a mother of 2 young children. She works in a diner, like a blue-collar woman. She's married to a guy played by Huey Lewis.
Wow.
And he's just as hot as can be. He's so 80s hot. And in the video, this resolution to the question, is there life out there, does not appear in the lyrics of the song. But in the video, it's a complete story. She goes back to college as a working mom. And I watched it tonight. And I am a cheese ball, okay? But I literally had tears in my eyes. I was like, that is the sweetest thing. Because she's working at this diner. She's got this super supportive husband in the person of Huey Lewis. She's got these 2 young kids. And all night long, she's typing on her typewriter. And she's always late to class. And she's reading like The Great Gatsby or something. And she ends up writing this paper. She stays up all night writing a paper. And her kids are fighting. And they accidentally spill coffee on the paper. And then Huey Lewis stays up blow drying the pages of the typewritten paper so she can hand it in. And her professor gives her an A.
Going to space, Mom. Stop it, that's Mommy's homework. I know it's your Mommy's homework. Now give me that back. Oh, no.
What have you done? I've been working on that piece for 3 weeks now. Why did you do that?
I didn't mean to. I'm sorry, Mommy. It was an accident.
I don't need any more accidents in my life.
Hey. Time out. Maggie.
O'Connor, may I see you a moment? Your neatness leaves something to be desired, but your thought process doesn't. You have a remarkable grasp of the subject. A. But next time, try to avoid the stains.
I learned more from the stains than I did the paper.
And her professor says to her, next time, maybe not so many stains. And she goes, I learned more from the stains than I did from the paper. That's what she says. It's really moving. And then she graduates, and Huey Lewis stands up with their 2 kids, and he says, that's my wife. And as cheesy as it is this incredibly life-affirming story about, the incredible lie that women are told that you can have it all. This is a story about a woman trying to do that at a time in her life when it would be unexpected and really, really hard. It's also lifts up a marriage that is a pretty neat and apparently equal and supportive partnership. And you just think about like who was listening to country music in the 90s, who is the audience for this song. And remarkably, country music television, they did not pull it, but they almost did. And their criticism, apparently, I have a quote.
That there was a woman singing.
Well, there was that, but they criticized that she was letting her message like get ahead of the song or something. Like she was being too editorial. I just thought that was interesting, that it would be controversial to tell a story about a woman working hard to sort of achieve a dream and answer the question, is there a life out there? And again, it's nice because the song, if you hear it, it's actually a pretty great pop country song. There is no narrative. It's just about, it's sort of amusing. And then the video comes in and creates this little film, which is something that Reba McEntire did quite a bit in her videos. So that's my pick, is Their Life Out There, a little feminist country song by the one and only Reba McEntire with a supporting role from Huey Lewis. Oddly enough.
Wow.
You know what would make it great is if it was like Huey Lewis, Reba McEntire, and then like their kids were just members of the news, just like members of the band.
There you go.
Be awesome.
Liz, it sounds like a straight up sweet story, and any talk of banning it has to be misogyny.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, because it wasn't that controversial. And remember last year I talked about that Garth Brooks song that referenced domestic violence, which was also pulled from country music television. It's just, and that type of thing still happens in country music, which has an incredible polarization around political and social issues. There have been videos even this year where they tried to ask questions about gender and sexuality, and the radio and TV were not into it.
Yeah, I think Liz and I have talked offline about this, and I don't know if we've brought it up on the pod, but there's actually rules for country music radio for playlists that you can't play 2 female artists back to back. Like there has to be a certain number of male artists in between female artists on country radio.
And you'll notice it if you listen to live country radio.
Huh, I won't do that, but wow, that's crazy. That's ridiculous.
I just finished the video.
You watched the whole video?
I just watched.
Is that why you were crying?
I was not crying, Ricardo. Well, it is interesting to think about these as like, Reba McEntire goes on to have a show, like a television show, Reba, right? I'm like, this is an interesting audition tape.
It's not great acting.
Television show. It is okay. It is okay. Because Reba just shines through. I will say she's better than Huey Lewis's acting. I'll give it that. And maybe the children. she's probably the best.
What about the college
the professor is the professor.
Yeah.
And the short order cook can cook in the diner. But it's lovely. You're right. I mean, the song has zippo to do with the entire line.
Well, the song asks the question and the video answers it.
And the video answers it. And it's To think that people would have been like, "Oh, we can't play." I was like, I thought you were gonna say it was because like she woke Huey Lewis up after finishing her paper for some nookie, which seems to be what happened. I thought that was going to be why it got a little sexy time. I thought that you were going to say that's why it got
And she
banned.
yells at the kids at one point. Like there's a lot contained in 5 minutes. I wish I could find. Oh, here it is. Here's the quote. Now this is a quote from Wikipedia, but it quotes CMT. It says McIntyre and her label received complaints from the television network CMT over the video that she was, quote, putting message ahead of music, and it was almost banned from the network. But the video went on to win Video of the Year in 1992 at the Academy of Country Music Awards, and it was a number one hit song. So you think like some of her, like, I don't know, I'm sure she did a video for Fancy, which was her interpretation of
the Bobby Gentry song.
Yeah, the Bobby Gentry song.
Yes.
Like, was that video banned? I don't know.
You know, the positive marriage, the equal marriage, like some of the country tropes of like the, you know, the hard luck woman and the man who doesn't treat her right. And, you know, and some of that, like this is not playing that game.
No, and I could totally believe that video may have inspired some people to go back to college later in life. Honestly. It's in that way, it's a very positive.
And there are so many comfy early 90s cardigans. Like I can definitely see early 90s fashion.
Yeah. The style is something else.
In a big way right now.
How big was the hair? How big was the
big?
Hair?
Really?
Yeah.
Pretty natural, honestly. It doesn't look, you know, Reba has some big wigs and stuff, and this is more just like big curly hair.
She's got to look a little frazzled, Greg. She's a mom.
She's a working mom.
She's sitting on a kitchen counter. You are correct. Reading The Great Gatsby.
Yeah.
She's trying
and
to
then Huey Lewis pops a little note in the book. He walks by and he puts a little note in the book that just says, I love you.
I know.
Now that I would ban. No.
Now I would say Huey Lewis's hair is very big.
Yes.
Yeah, I was asking about Huey Lewis. That was yeah.
And his glasses are a little bit like Ricardo's.
That's true.
Yeah, that is true. So, just say.
Maybe I can be in a country music video as the supportive husband with my glasses.
You could.
There you go. That would be great.
Okay, so the bag has chosen me to go next. Okay, it's me.
It's you.
Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. That's not my pick, by the way.
I almost picked that one.
Wait, as an aside, if they go to the Super Bowl,
oh god,
like, are they just going to have a camera trained on her, like through the? Is there going to be like a Taylor cam at the Super Bowl?
And can I feel like really sorry for Usher as the halftime show performer?
Right,
in front of Taylor Swift. She might not be able to be there because the Eras tour resumes and she will be in Tokyo the night before the Super Bowl, accounting for the time difference. So she would have to leave Tokyo privately, fly all the way from Tokyo to, where is the Super Bowl this year?
Vegas.
Yeah, to Las Vegas. And she could make it, but it would be crazy.
Wow.
Oh my God. The amount of, they must be really in love if you're doing that. Like, it's just going to be,
Well, luckily my other boyfriend, Jason Kelsey, will be there.
That's right. Shirtless.
Great.
Hubba, man.
Wait, who's Jason Kelsey?
Travis Kelsey's brother. Oh my God.
Is he a football player?
We need a moment.
Football.
We need a moment. Okay.
Share your screen.
I'm doing it right now.
Wow. Oh my gosh. What's happening?
What's
going on?
The problem is I can't see. Okay, I'm just gonna see. I'm gonna show you both of them, Ricardo, because they're both so hot that if someone said to me, pick one.
Oh, that's an old picture.
I know. If someone said pick one, I wouldn't be able to pick one.
Okay, so Liz, I'm sorry.
Yes,
you clearly have a type, and there's clearly a Grizzly Adams on this magazine cover.
Vince Gill is not a Grizzly Adams.
No, he's not. But I mean, God, they're very sweet guys too. I'm trying to find like a good picture for Ricardo. This is for Ricardo, you guys.
Thank you.
It's not about me.
And their
Well, there
mom
he is. That's
threw their mom threw a
Yeah.
little bit of shade at Taylor on the Today Show.
That I know, but I heard that was like an accident. Like, look at
What do you?
that.
How?
Well, that she got flustered. That like her instructions were kind of like was like you don't need to talk about Taylor Swift that much. And then when she was asked the question directly, she
was that the first time you'd met Taylor?
Yeah, it's fairly new, so I don't like to talk about it. It's just one of those things where, obviously everybody saw me. I was in the boxes with her, and it's just another thing that's amped up my life.
Yeah, what was she like? What was it? I mean, so you got to know her a little bit. Got to sit with a couple games. How was it?
It was okay. Yeah.
Well, we both met her, and we've always sort of just been delighted by her way.
Yeah.
Well, they're different. They're different men. They're different types. They're both.
Oh, he's totally cute. Look at
Isn't
that.
he adorable? I know. He's one of People
adorable.
Magazine's sexiest men alive.
Wow.
I wouldn't go that far, but hey, he's very cute.
Okay, wait. Have I talked about my video yet? No, I have
No.
not. Sorry. Okay.
I don't know how I
your lady?
hijacked. I just hijacked that to talk about the Kelsey brothers.
All right, so let's talk about Freedom 90 by George Michael.
Let you down. I will not give you up. Gotta have some faith in the sound. It's the one good thing that I've got. I won't let you down. So please don't give me up. 'Cause I would really, really love to stick around. Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Because this is a video that I could have sworn that we talked about on a music video episode, and then I, as Liz pointed out before, at Betsy's request, I made a list of all of the videos that we talked about, and it was not on there. And I was like, okay, we've got to get to this. Here's what Ricardo knows, because I've been texting Ricardo about this. I've been into pop music lately. And I've also been thinking about what songs I'm going to pick for the popping playlist. And so I've been listening to a lot of pop music. And George Michael is an amazing pop music writer. Like, he's like really good at writing pop music.
Really good.
And Freedom 90, I'll get to the video in just a second. This song, holy crap, you guys. This song is like really good. I don't know that I've ever really taken the time to think about it. Like, I kind of knew what it was that he wanted to say with the song, which was that he was a little burned out on the image that was created of him going all the way from Wham up until like Faith, right? Like, he was really a product. Like, George Michael wasn't necessarily a person. George Michael was like a character that he was kind of doing. And I think it was really weighing on him by the time he wrote this song. And so Freedom 90 is like his opportunity to sort of break away from that image that had been created for himself, right? And I mean, if you listen to the song, I mean, he says it. It's basically a song to his fans saying, here's what's going on with me, and can we work through this? So like he says, I won't let you down. I will not give you up, but you've got to have some faith in the sound, right? The music that he makes. It's the one good thing that I've got. But then, as we all know about George Michael, like, he wasn't out when Freedom 90 came out. And there's like one lyric sort of buried in the song that's sort of the bridge of the song, where he says, I think there's something you should know. I think it's time I stop the show. There's something deep inside of me. There's someone I forgot to be. Take back the picture in the frame. Take back the singing in the rain.
I just hope you understand.
I just hope you understand. Sometimes the clothes do not make the man. Yeah. It's like there's this image that's on the outside, but that's not who I am, right? That's not like what's underneath all of this. It's really gorgeous. So what does George Michael do when MTV comes calling for a video? He gives them a video where he doesn't show up in it. a video where he blows up all of the stuff that was in the Faith video, like the guitar and the jukebox, and he burns the leather jacket, and he has a bunch of supermodels lip sync his songs, and he has David Fincher direct the video, and it's shot in like this condemned looking house. It looks like the house from Fight Club, that Fincher would have used for that. And it's just it's like this really great kind of, oh, okay, so you want a pop song from me and you want a hit video from me, so I'm going to give you a video where I don't show up in it, and it's about how this whole industry that you've created is basically like a fraud, that's selling like an image of me but not really me, and I'm going to put a bunch of sexy people in it because that's what you like anyway, is just sex. And and you can play this video like 12 times an hour for all I care. I don't care. And it's just such like the balls that it takes to sort of like, just go 180 degrees in another direction and say, here's a video, why don't you live with this? I just love it. I'm a sort of a challengey person by nature, and so I love like the kinds of people that stand up for what they believe and like challenge like institutions like MTV in 1990. I just think it's great. And so Freedom 90, it's a famous video. I'm sure you've seen it like a billion times. But the more I sort of dig into George Michael and the lyric and his story, and watching something like Freedom Uncut, which was a documentary that was made about him back in like 2017 or something. Like he's a really smart, really thoughtful artist, and pop music is his medium. And I just think the song is great, and I think the video is great. So Freedom 90 is my pick.
Awesome, Greg.
It's a good choice. I don't know if there's anything else to say about it.
Oh, I have something to say.
All right, that's what I was hoping.
I appreciate George Michael in some ways more after he's dead. I've heard all the hits all the way through, but Liz, you talked about that Wham documentary. Was it you that saw it recently? You too, Betsy? It was
I was going to bring it up. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was really sweet how he and Andrew Ridgeley, the other guy of Wham, they were like good friends, and he was cool with him being gay, and he was even cool with him being famous and outshining, the Andrew Ridgeley. And he said, no, this is what he's meant to be. And so good for him, But that song, that video, the thing you're saying, Greg, I don't know if I'm not quite saying the same thing, but it's another way of looking at it. What I find so brilliant about having supermodels lip sync his words are kind of what you're saying. Here are these gorgeous people, but what they're actually saying is, I am not who you think I am.
Yep.
And stop thinking of me in this way. I am more. Sometimes, there's a woman singing, sometimes the clothes do not make the man. She's lip syncing it and looking at the camera. Yeah. And it's just like, it's so subversive in a way. It's like, I'm giving you all the sex you want, but I'm telling you, it's not true. This is not me. And that's, it's
yeah, he literally says it, right? He says, all we have to do is take these lies and make them true somehow. All we have to see is that I don't belong to you and you don't belong to me, right? Like, so he's saying it explicitly, but he's layering it under all of this stuff. And MTV's happy because they get like 5 minutes of supermodels, but it's a commentary about their system that he's doing. It's great. And of course, Fincher, like the way that David Fincher shoots them, like he's not necessarily shooting it's seductive. Like you've got like bathtubs and all of this stuff, but he's got their bodies like sort of contorted and sort of like, he's got like one of the guys is like hanging upside down, from this thing. He's shooting Cindy Crawford from like her face, like kind of going down. He's doing like a bunch of sort of strange camera tricks with the body too. And he's so meticulous about his shots and stuff that it just becomes like a work of art.
That song is like one of my top 20 songs I'd want to sing in karaoke. You know, it's so great. It's a great song, and it's the kind of song where even, you know, like now the songs are very fast and you dance to them like this, but that song has got this groove that is kind of, I think, universal or eternal. You know, anyone's going to want to dance it. So good. Great.
Well, it just makes me think about Andrew originally calling him by his real first name all the time in the documentary.
Oh, I can't remember.
What's George? It's George.
Georgos or something.
Yeah. And so he calls him that all the time, you know, and that's how, you know, even beyond the sexuality and the identity, that's him. Sure. You know, that's who he is. And then, so George Michael, as you said, is this fabrication, this creation of a person.
And he's calling for freedom. Like he's, you know, that's what he's sort of begging for. And he's got like a
if you can,
choir. He's got a choir sort
right,
of screaming it for him, you know? Yeah. So,
well, and if you can hold me more loosely, if you can hold me more loosely, we could really build this amazing artist, artist industry relationship together. If you'll allow me to do this, because it was always, you know, that the thing that I took from that Wham documentary is just these songs are just bursting inside of him, and they just had to come out, and he had to write them and all of that. And I'm just always so moved by Andrew, you know, seeing that and knowing that needed to happen for his creative spirit.
All right, Betsy, you are our last of the night.
So this is a group that I have enjoyed their work for a really long time. So I think generally I'm picking OK Go as a band, right? They have been making high quality, amazing videos for a really long time. And they, you know, Greg actually shared with me a story of meeting OK Go.
I met OK Go
as a young man.
OK Go from Chicago. Was how they introduced
What year
themselves
was that?
to me. Yeah.
What year was that?
Oh gosh, that was like 2001.
Yeah, really.
What's the story? Like, how did you meet them?
They were opening for They Might Be Giants.
They were opening for They Might Be Giants at a club in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And so they were going down the line as we were like queuing up to go into the club. They were like going down the line outside, handing out like bumper stickers and stuff with their band. And they were like, "We're OK Go from Chicago. We're OK Go from Chicago."
That's cute. Oh, that's sweet.
Wow.
Very cute. They're a quartet. They're artsy. They were into filming something interesting, and so they filmed the video for their song "Here It Goes Again" in 2006. And they used treadmills and, you know, primary colors and just a creative way to use 4 treadmills and 4 band members to do their song. And they won all sorts of awards for this video and the creativity of the video. And so they have this great quote. Again, you know, our main source for this podcast is Wikipedia. And so
Please donate
they
to Wikipedia.
They said in Rolling Stone, you know, the band worried about kind of being considered a one-hit wonder after that, because the video goes viral. It's all over the place. If you kind of think about 2006 and the intersection of the internet, the rising popularity of YouTube, and all of that kind of taking off, while you're also looking at perhaps the waning years of a TRL type of situation, that they really worried about being this one-hit wonder. And so they were talking about it, and they said, you know, we could go in 2 directions. We could either try to outcool it, like try to outrun it, like Radiohead did after their video Creep, or we could embrace it and go, okay, that what really worked here, and can we push it further? And so they ended up doing that. So
they started making concept videos that played with time, that played with slow motion, that played with stop motion, that played with different sorts of research and development to kind of do different things inside their music videos. So what's fun is I would just recommend to people go to their website, and they have their videos up, but then they also have behind the scenes of all of their videos and kind of how they work out the concepts and that sort of thing. There's a great one where they're in a park in Los Angeles, I believe, and they're moving with very tiny steps, and they've slowed down the song so much when they filmed it that they're singing along, but when they film it, they're singing like very slow motion. But when you play it at the speed that they play it, it looks like they're singing along in kind of this odd herky-jerky fashion. And there's also this goose that's very intrusive for most of the end of the video, which is pretty funny. It just didn't move. And so there's just, and they have people in the park who are in the video. And so that sort of thing. And it's simple and creative. And then things kind of grow more elaborate. You know, there's and then they'll sometimes partner with people. Like they've partnered with Chevrolet and done a video where they've outfitted a car to essentially drive through an obstacle course in the desert with things off the car that are hitting instruments and things that are making the sound of the song. So there's like pianos lined up on their sides, and it's like whack, 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 hitting it. They also have another one, a really famous one that's just a giant Rube Goldberg machine, and that they've won some awards for as well. The video that I found, because I kind of went looking, I was like, oh yeah, I want to do them, but what have they done that I haven't kind of checked out lately? And there was a video from a song from 2014, which I shared with all of you because I was like, oh, they're not going to have seen this video. And so it's called The One Moment. They did it. It's their song, but they also did it and released the video in conjunction with a campaign around creative water projects that they were doing with Morton Salt, which, interesting enough, in 2014, that's what they were doing. But the whole video is actually 4.2 seconds, the action of the video. And then you slow it down, and it's a 4-minute plus video when you show it in slow-mo, which is how they show it. But in slow-mo, it's all timed. And so the song is about, these moments that make all the difference. This will be the moment that we'll remember. And so they started to experiment with kind of exploding different things, using paint, using all different kinds of things to kind of see what they would look like in slow motion, and how long the burst would last, and how would that work tonally, and all of that. And then they kind of they slowly experiment and put it all together. But their videos have ended up in art museums, the Guggenheim and other like modern art museums, in the way that they're creating art with film. And I just think they're so interesting and creative, but that they're interested in working with other artists to kind of still take music videos seriously as something that can be a marriage between the visual medium and a song, and to step into the metaphor in interesting ways, and not just have it be a total gimmick. There's still something interesting about what they're doing. It doesn't take away from the song.
Do they, as a band, are they a big part of the concept of these videos?
Yes.
Or are they working with other people?
They are a big part of the concept. So that's what I was kind of curious about. So when I went down my rabbit hole on the website, it was like, oh, it's them with, up in the warehouse. Like, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at that. That sort of experimentation, which I think when I think about working with students and that sort of thing, oh, we tried this thing, that didn't work, so then we did this. And I mean, so much of life is figuring out that it's okay to not get it right the first time, and then you're going to do something different, and failure is okay, and just figure out another way to go.
The Here We Go Again video is the first one that I could think of, because it was like when YouTube started, like you were saying, like that sort of advent of YouTube. And I think it had such a DIY kind of element to it. It was like, okay, we're going to set up a camera and a couple of treadmills and we're going to make a music video. And it just felt like, old school music video, it felt like one of those things that you would have seen like in the early 80s or something, and I know that there's like a whole team built around like making these things happen, but they still feel homemade somehow. Like the band just had a few cameras and set it up and did it themselves,
I didn't really know them. And then years later, I saw the treadmill video. I don't remember it that well, but I remember being like, wow, that's fascinating. And I can't remember, was it that they just choreographed everything so meticulously that it was kind of, wow, is that what that was?
And it's
just
one
rehearsed
take.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's one take. So you're kind of like, oh my God, like they're really doing this.
Is the Rube Goldberg, that's like the mousetrap game, right? Where all the different things trigger the other things. I saw that video too, and that was awesome. But I wonder, like, do they tour? Are they still together? And does their music work? Not that I'm sure their music works without the video, but are people so attached to the videos that going to see them in concert is anticlimactic? I wonder.
Well, I think they still on their website too. They also have videos of their live shows. So I have to imagine that at least I've never seen them live. That you bring in at least the aesthetic into that medium, not just playing the videos, but I would imagine that you would, bring like that
the art
in,
direction kind of,
in some sort of way, right?
Look at it or something.
I don't know how much they tour. Like the last show that you can kind of see on their, on their website are from like 2022. So they haven't toured since then. But that doesn't mean anything. But I think like in the way that there's a song and a video that like Arcade Fire released this year, but then they that involves like those inflatable things that are outside of car washes, and there's a moment in their show when those inflate and they're kind of everywhere. The only problem with an OK Go video is they tend to get a little messy. So there tends to be some paint everywhere. There tends to be some stuff like that. So that aspect, I don't think would every venue would be up for that. But I have to imagine that their colorful aesthetic would be a part of that.
Well, I imagine too, they have to be like the most patient people. Like I'm thinking about your video, like as I was watching it, I was like, when something goes wrong, with all those explosions and stuff, and you have to reset and do it over again, it's just like, gosh, it's got to be so frustrating if you didn't flip the pages like a certain way or so, I don't know. Or like even with the treadmills, if you messed up on like the last chorus and it's just like, oh no, reset, let's do it again,
Yeah, I wonder how many takes that took.
Yeah. I bet they lost like 7 pounds on the treadmill just from all the takes,
But I think it also takes a temperament as a band, because I do wonder watching some of it. I think some of them are more, some members might be more into the creative process on the front end than others. And, so some folks are like, yeah, I'm coming in and I'm just ready to kind of do my part and let's go, and then others are, and allowing that part of the creative process to kind of roll. And, I don't have to be up in every part of it. But I do think that then there is an amount of patience that you would need to have with each other to be able to pull that off. And in the video that they shoot in the park in Los Angeles, I mean, they sleep there. They're overnight there. Like it's that sort of long time lapse situation. They're like in sleeping bags at this park with like the flock of geese that shows up, and then they move over there, and and it's
So
it's
funny.
just it's wild. Yeah.
Very cool.
It's a good choice, Betsy.
I also think that they're just like when I brought them up, because I have it's Wednesday night. We always have chapel, and then we go over to the pub at the seminary afterwards, and then I come home, and so people are like, oh, what are you talking about tonight? Oh, I'm talking about music videos. What are you going to talk about? Oh, we'll talk about OK Go. And then one of our physics teachers like, oh, I always show that Rube Goldberg video in my class.
Nah.
Yeah, right. I bet
that there's just something about them that is something that you're like, yeah, I'm just going to put on these videos. They're just fun. Good for the kids. Let's go. So, anyway,
Awesome.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, that's it.
So good.
Another music videos episode in the books.
Did it again.
Are you not entertained at this point? Can you not?
Those are really good picks this year, Greg and Betsy and Liz. Those are good picks this year.
Yeah.
It was good picks. Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to enjoy watching all of these videos again, definitely, as I edit this episode together. What else do we say at the close of the show? You can find Popping Collars on the web at poppingcollarspodcast.com. You can also find us in any podcatcher available, whether it be Apple or a lot of did you know like a lot of these pod things have shut down? Like Stitcher isn't even a thing anymore.
I just heard that.
Yeah. It's closed.
So where else can you get us? Where else is there?
I mean, I use Spotify. What do you guys use? I use Spotify
Apple.
for pods. Apple.
I use the Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
Me too.
They own my soul.
We have a lot of Google people.
I've used something called Podcast App that has a microphone as the thing. That is not Apple. I don't know.
Oh,
It's not?
No.
I thought that was Apple.
Oh.
No. It's
Podcast
blue.
The one with
App.
the purple? The
It's
purple
blue.
one? Oh,
Why
No,
do you
it's
use that,
blue.
Betsy?
I don't know. I started using it,
Huh.
and then that's how it happened.
Okay.
So now
fine.
everything is there.
That's
And
fine. Go to podcastapp.com and listen to our show. I don't know. Whatever.
Another great outro, Greg.
I do know this. People have been ordering merch because I get notifications whenever merch gets ordered. So thanks to everyone who's ordered our merch. And if you would like some sweet Popping Collars merch, you can just go to our website, poppingcollarspodcast.com, click the PC merch and more tab at the top. Ricardo, you have your hand up. Yes.
Yeah, I do. I want to piggyback on that plug for our merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
I get, well, no shame. I get extra large size t-shirts, and my dark gray Popping Collars extra large t-shirt fits great. It just fits great. I wear it to the gym.
I love it.
People don't ask me what it is because they're probably too scared and, intimidated. But the logo is really cool. I got a compliment on the logo recently.
Oh, nice.
And it's on my water bottles now as well. I mean, it always has been. It's a great logo, and you want that logo on your stuff. 30 years from now, we may still be podcasting, but we may not. But you'll have that logo, and people will say, wow, that was awesome. What is that from? That's awesome. And you tell your story about the podcast that was, and probably will still be in 30 years, I'm sure.
In 30 years.
Wow. The
Religion
longest
may die,
running.
but pop culture will not. So
if we make it another 30 years, we'll be the longest running Episcopal anything.
Right.
Like
we'll be the
ever.
last standing Episcopal.
That's right.
Not just podcast.
We'll all be bishops.
By the way,
There you go.
I'll have to cut this, but I was wearing my Popping Collars podcast t-shirt when the
5 hours later.
Anyway, we're back. So that's Popping Collars for this time. Thank you, Betsy. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Ricardo.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, me, for talking music videos once again. We'll see you next time. Betsy, you're muted. You're muted. You're muted.
I said, just like Niecy Nash, you thank yourself.
Yeah, thank
That's right.
yourself.
I mean, I didn't get here by accident. Like, I didn't stumble onto this pod.
This has been a lot of hard work, primarily from you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Who deserves more of a pat on the back than me?
Nobody.
Here we
Nobody.
Nice.
Nobody.
Love it. That's Popping College for this time. What is it? I don't remember how
You
to
did it
close
all.
the show.
Keep those collars popped.
Yes. Pop.
Pop, pop.
There's something that I say before that. I can't remember. It's like, thank you.
You
We'll
thank
see you
us.
next time.
We'll see you
Thank us.
next time. That's what and yes.
And okay, do you want to do it again?
No. No, I'm gonna leave all this
No.
in because it makes me
Of
sound
course
old
you
and
will.
out of touch.
That's cute.
We're just real people.
Aw.